I will review the swap hosted by Meri Abrams. Today I am working on a galaxy project, and I'm doing a voiceover for the very first time because my house is a zoo during this filming, and I tried very hard to film it nicely, but it just did not work out for me. So what I have to work with is this. It was like a decoration from Hobby Lobby on their Christmas clearance, and I had painted it black a long time ago, and I wrapped it up in saran wrap to keep all the beads out, because my original plan was to make a galaxy with it. But the galaxy that I was going to do was going to be a little bit different than what I'm doing today. I wasn't going to include anything else, but I decided instead to turn it into a junk collage. So you're all going to come for the ride of junk collaging with me. And I have to find a place for my beads, so in a second here you're going to be hanging out just looking while I'm just looking at this while I am finding a place to dump the beads out so that I can start gluing stuff into the box. Like I said, I had painted it black. It was originally like red and white, and it said "Be Merry." I got it for a couple bucks at Hobby Lobby a couple years ago after Christmas. And I really liked the honeycomb shape, and I bought 2 of them, so if I don't like this galaxy, I can always just make up another galaxy with the other one that I have. But I did want to use up some of my junk for my 100 Things challenge, and that's where the junk collage came into effect, because I seem to collect more junk than I actually use. So I'm going to start using it. By God, I'm going to use it. And in just, yep, here we go. That's the top to a card box. I'm going to just dump those stars. Those are my stars. Dump my stars into a container. And at first, I tried a few different things with paper that I had painted black, but I edited that out. That wasn't going to work out very well for what I was doing. So instead, I just crumple it up. That's black, matte black paint. You can also use black gesso or any kind of paint, whatever color you want to make it. So that's what I did, is I crumpled it all up, and I ended up gluing it in there like that. And I sped it up a little bit while I glued some junk down. Now, the best way to do this when you're gluing your junk down is to keep moving it around and looking at it from different angles so you can see where you can tuck some junk in. I don't take you along for the whole junk addition process, but you see the bulk of it. I go in after off camera, and I add a few small things underneath and around and over the hill and, you know, all over the place. But this is a great way to get rid of some junk, and actually it looks pretty cool when you're done. And like I said, you can really do any color that you want. I like the black, and we will go in and add some more galaxy colors as we get a little bit further in, but the black is a pretty cool base. And I've seen Rebecca from Dances with Pitbulls. I have seen her take this iridescent glaze, I think it is. I think it's a golden product, and she goes over it, and it adds this cool bluish, whitish, iridescent color over the black. And someday I will buy myself some of that. But for today, I'm going to use what I have. I'm using all different kinds of little ornaments, and that yellow circle thing was trash from something, and that's a disposable baby spoon for when you're on the go. I have a bunch of those, and I have clothespins, of course, puzzle pieces, flowers. That is a bead, a charm from something. The possibilities are endless. That I have plastic gears that I had gotten from a printer smash. We had smashed one of our printers, and I got to keep the guts, and some of the guts were pretty cool. So I got some plastic gears. That is some kind of beaded skull and bone chain that I have a few pieces of. One thing is, when you have children in your life, the junk pile up is just unreal. So if you're like me and you save all the junk, then you have a problem, and you should probably get rid of some junk. But I save a lot of their little things, blocks and a little gem that one of them had, and that's a toy piece from a cheap, those Kinder eggs, if anybody knows what those are about. Well, that's a piece of it, and you snap them together, but they don't stay together, and they end up falling apart. So on the paper, it was kind of hard to get things to stay, whereas on a flat surface, they do. The paper has give to it, so some of the stuff didn't really want to stick that well. But at the end, when it was all said and done, I'm pretty sure I got everything to stay. There won't be a problem hanging it on a wall. I might not be able to hang it from a ceiling upside down, but I don't doubt its strength to withstand a wall. So you should be able to hang this up when you're done. I will probably drill 2 holes in the top somewhere and put a piece of rope or a beaded, piece of fishing line to hang it. So I can just hang it from a nail and have it look cool like that. The way it originally came was it had a piece of wire and it had these huge wooden beads, and it was supposed to just sit on a table and just have the beads look like decoration, but man, it was god-awful ugly. So I don't know what I'm talking about there, but it's very serious. I go through some of the painting with you, again, sped up. I don't go through all the painting because, again, you have to look at it from all angles. You have to tip it up. You have to look at it, vertically, and you got to make sure you get in all the crevices. But one thing to make sure of is that you have a couple of different size paintbrushes, and that they have pretty soft bristles, because the hard bristles tend to scrape paint off of the plastic surfaces more than they add paint. So use something with soft bristles and go at it pretty easily. Don't use all your force to put the paint on. It's tricky, but believe it or not, doing this for some bizarre reason is pretty therapeutic, to sit there and put paint on junk. I don't know what it is, but I just really enjoy it. And I don't know why I don't make more of these, because, God, I have so much junk. But I will. And, I know that I backed this with paper. I've also used in the past onion wrappers for texture in the background, tinfoil, balled up acetate plasticky stuff. Sorry, I'm getting some of my frizzy hairs. It's a little frizzy here today. I've used, balled up plastic. I've used foam that I cut into squares and then glued a bunch of the squares down, so that's an option. Trash, if you have scrap paper, you can crumple it up, smaller pieces and do smaller bits of scrap, but you should put something down in the background. I think it really adds to the junkiness. Or if you just have so much junk that you can layer it up, you go right ahead, girlfriend, because that's good. I do have a lot of junk, and but I like to use up some of my scraps, and this was a scrap piece of paper that I had that would otherwise go to the trash, but instead it goes into my scrap paper hoard that I use for painty papers, and lately for gluing, like Franken pages, but they're not master boards to use. These are like, I can use them for actual pages, so I might cover them with a napkin somewhere down the line. But today's not the day for that. I decide to take this sponge and get some other colors that are galaxy-ish. And instead of using the matte black paint with it, I end up using the metallic black, so it adds a little bit of a shimmer with it, but it's still black, so that, the galaxy stands out to your eyeballs. I did go through and paint it. What you see on the edges there is actually gold paint. I had gotten a little bit of gold paint on it before, but don't worry, we fixed that all up. I mean, the gold paint, even that looks cool with the gold paint on the edge, but don't worry, we fixed that all up. So that's the metallic black that I'm going to use, and I start with dark blue, I believe, and I just kind of blend them together and dab them around the whole piece. Sorry, it's a coffee break. So, yeah, that sponge worked pretty good. If it was glued down really well, I would have used one of those blending brushes, like people have been using that are actually makeup brushes. But I didn't trust putting a ton of pressure on because, again, with the paper really fluffed up in the background, it is a little tough to rub these things because you can rip it or you can rip them off that paper. So I just kind of dabbed it on and rubbed it a little bit in place with the brush, you know, where I just spun the brush around on the surface so that it kind of blended the colors. And adding a little bit of color really does bring out, you know, the galaxiness of it. And I do enjoy seeing what's going to happen when I put those things on. But, you know, that brush doesn't get in every place. So, you know, you could go in with a paintbrush after. I take a paintbrush and I kind of just move things around a little bit just to get it into all the places that the eye can see. But I liked the idea of adding the metallic black to go with it. And I end up taking a little bit of the pink, you know, the nebulas. Gotta have some nebulas in your galaxy. The theme for this month was either Mother's Day or astronomy, and I have done Mother's Day to death this month by making a million zillion Mother's Day cards. So I went with the astronomy, and I was going to do a galaxy painting a few different ways after watching YouTube videos, but I didn't quite... I didn't get a chance to practice painting a galaxy. So you would have all been there for like the maiden voyage of my galaxy painting skills, and that could have just been, you know, a little creepy. But see, I get into lightly rubbing this sponge in here while I'm trying to get the pink, but it's very light. It's not you know, it is not anywhere near what I would probably like to do in order to get the color into things. But it's working. Another coffee break. And, you know, like I have can tabs in there. I have a little heart charm. I have magnets and a toothpick and a match. It really... There's no limits to what you put on there for your junk. And this puts a very small dent in my junk collection. I do have a whole baggie of small toys that I had found, actually that it was given to my children, and the baggie ended up getting lost, and then I found it again in their toys. So I have no idea what to do with all those little dudes. Excuse my yawning. I am very sorry. I've been tired. My allergies have been kicking my buttocks. But yeah, I end up peeling some paint up off of some of the plastic surfaces by rubbing with the sponge. And that bead came up there. You can see the red sticking out. Stupid bead, had to be a rebel. But we fixed that up. The paint is, the glue is still wet, which is where a hot glue gun does come in handy. But when I've done it with the hot glue gun, I just get so frustrated with hot glue guns. Between the stringiness and the glue cooling too fast, and I bought a cordless glue gun, which means that the temperature is nowhere near what those cheap corded glue guns are. So that glue dries really fast, and it makes me nuts. I do peel some of the paint off of that X there, but we go back and fix that. So yeah, back to glue gun. It's really just a really big pain in my butt to use a glue gun. We do at the end here for my moon bits. You're going to be on the ride for 2 moons. We're going to go through 2 moons here. It's a 2 moon kind of day. The first moon just isn't big enough. But I'm not going to spoil it. Let you guys find out the disappointment of the small moon. This is going to be my first premiere. I am so excited to premiere with all of you, and I'm so excited for it to be during a hop, which is just totally gnarly, that I'm going to have a premiere tonight. I love going live, and I love the live input and inspiration that I get from most of you. But this is going to be something a little different. And I'll still get the input from you because I'm going to be right there with you, which is also going to be kind of creepy, watching myself talk to myself. Like watching yourself on TV. This is going to be creepy because I'm going to be watching myself for the first time on TV with all of you people, and it's going to be weird, not going to lie. At least, you know, with my videos that I make and post, I watch them first, but you know, I'm going to be premiering this. So I'm going to like watch it happen with you for the first time. It's going to be weird. So this is my first moon. We're going to cut it out and we're going to paint it. I'm making it out of corrugated cardboard. And the corrugated cardboard works just fine. I think anything you have to make a moon with. I would have liked bookboard, but I was not running out to my storage trailer after all the rain we had yesterday just to get bookboard. So corrugation it is. And once you throw paint on it, and yep, you know, it's not even going to be the focal point. The focal point of the junk collage is the junk. And the moon is just a nice little piece that's off to the side. So that's my little moon. And I'm going to paint it yellow. And I'm going to add a little bit of gold. I don't know if you can even tell the gold is there, but it at least adds metallic, you know, a metallic quality to it. And this is perfect because tomorrow is a full moon and it is supposed to be a super moon. So here we are making a lunar piece of art just before a lunar event, lunarly. I'm sorry, I just like the word lunar. This voiceover thing is kind of fun, I'm not going to lie. I'm enjoying it. Had to get some excess paint off my brush. I try to paint the edges, but, you know, it's corrugated. You know, it's like trying to paint a hole. Just trying to paint a bunch of holes. How you going to do that? But at least get some of it, and then we fix the edges anyway. That's where the hot glue comes in. I don't really know what happened, but my phone, as I'm trying to edit the video, died there for a second. Started skipping some of my the timing, and I had to go back voiceover, and so try and no idea what do this over. But I'm going to hear in that one covering up my moon. I'm painting it over here and seeing if. And I add some gold, which of course is way too much. So this is where I put the gold. And of course I add too much paint every single time I do anything. Touch up some spots on too much paint every time. So we're going to go heavy on the gold piece itself. Go gold or go home. That's what I have to say about it. But I guess you can do whatever you want to the moon. If you want to go ahead I might and still make with my other honeycomb thing, I might make, you know, colors and craters and whatever. A moon that's and fine. Stars. I decided to just do a simple yellow moon because of the fact that the so that they kind of dangle. Focal point of this is going to be the junk. But instead of having just a black background, I might actually the stars and the moon is going to be nice. But it's not going to be the main purpose of the. I might actually try and paint. So my camera. I move my camera a little bit on accident while I'm trying to get my glue gun, like an actual picture in the back of the galaxy, and see how that goes. Table, and I then try and rearrange my camera. So thing is kind of sorry, you get a little bit of a ride there, and you get to see my nice yellow shirt, which matches my moon. I've got a moon-colored shirt on. But apparently, that could just be the way it's processing it, I guess. But I was saying before, I guess this is so fitting because we are going to have a full moon tomorrow, and I'm making a moon. Project, you know, so it's going to be pretty cool. I end up moving the thing, my camera arm down because I have to grab my hot glue experience that you're all going to have here tonight. So for our lunar event tomorrow night, which will be a collage piece, and I grab the collage there on and putting stars on while I'm waiting for my glue gun to dry. That I decide my moon is too small. While I'm waiting for that to heat up, and that's when I decide to go with a bigger, way too small moon. For this and collage, and I changed that, and I'm going to fix up some of the paint there, so that's what I decide to do. That scraped off, do some touching up. It came unglued and of the paint and the where it scraped off and the bead that came up. And but overall, I really like the way it looks, in the sense of I do have some blue glitter I can see now. So that's a little really jumping ahead, balled up on that black gear there. But you know what? That's fine, because the universe isn't perfect. The universe doesn't have perfect clouds and perfect nebulas and perfect arrangements of color. We do that when we paint it. We try and make everything look perfect. So whatever, you know, that's a blue cloud thing in the galaxy, and that's the way it looks, man. That's the way space looks today. So you're just gonna have to deal with that. It's here, I think, that I'm like, hey, you know, my moon is a little small. So I decide to glue on my stars while I plan on a moon to do. And the stars work out nicely. Those are star beads that I got from the Dollar Tree. So just remember, when you're making something like this, you don't need anything fancy. All of my paints are the cheapest paints you can buy from Walmart or thrifted even. And once in a very blue moon, I will buy paints from Hobby Lobby or Joann's if they have a sale. I never go and buy anything at the full price. I might have to with that black metallic paint, but I'm really going to try and hold off until they have it on sale, because I'm almost out of it. But I'm going to hold off. But you can, those beads are from the Dollar Tree. The yellow seed beads I have, those are just simple little beads. You can even get that off of jewelry that you harvest. I harvest costume jewelry all the time. I buy lots of it on eBay when I'm in need of some, and I do it that way. I don't need any right now because I'm going through I had bought a 17-pound box for $35, and it was in one of those priority rate boxes, and it was full. I mean, this box was so heavy. So I'm still working out of that jewelry that I have organized and gone through, and you're all going to come on that ride with me too for some of the projects that I have in mind for that. But, you know, that frame I bought, like I said, Hobby Lobby, it was on clearance. You don't need anything fancy. You can buy junk and use even cardboard boxes or cereal boxes as your base. I've seen cigar boxes be used. I have little wooden boxes that kids' toys come in. If you know of the brand Melissa and Doug, that toy brand, a lot of their toys and sets come in little wooden boxes. So I'm getting my new moon ready to go here, and this I used my coffee cup, I think, as the base. I'm sorry, my video keeps skipping ahead, so I'm missing like 7 or 8 seconds of it at a time, but I think that the audio is recording on time with it. So I don't know. I only just made this project an hour ago. Of course I'm not going to remember what I did. But yeah, now I can see myself. I'm going to be painting this up again to get it back to mooniness and not cardboardiness. And again, I used yellow and I used gold to add a little bit of metallic-y bling bling. I hate that phrase, but you know, you gotta say it, even if you hate it. And this moon works out better because it's just a little bit bigger. If I ever do this again, I might make a big moon, and I might make it out of corrugation, and then maybe I'll line it and I'll cover it with some kind of junk that fits the piece, you know? Who knows? The possibilities are endless when you are arting with junk, and I like to do it because of the fact that most of the time it's free, and you're not adding it to the landfill, and you're using things that would otherwise have another purpose, and people love that. I have so much inspiration from Pinterest of people that do things. Like, I have an entire board dedicated to owls, for people who make owls out of found objects, and you should see it. They use spoons and gears and all kinds of stuff to make these fake owls, and I just love it, and I would love to do that. I think it would be so awesome to make a collection of fake owls. I think that would just be terrific. But I love turtles, so I might make a collection of fake turtles out of junk. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. I think at this point now, again, I can't see what's going on because my phone is skipping big amounts of time, but I'm using my... I was right. I had a small person show up in here screaming and yelling, so that worked out nicely. And it seemed to fix my video a little bit, so I should probably pause more often and start over again more often. That hot glue held most of the beads pretty well. Some of them were like a little slippy, slidey, fally offy, but that's okay because then you can go in. Afterwards I went in with Aleene's and added a few more. I think you're going to see that here shortly. But yeah, the hot glue works out perfect for something like this, and I'm just doing the edge of the moon. It's at a later date, since I have so many of those seed beads left, maybe after I'm done with this video, I might add the beads to the front of the moon also, even though it's already in place, but it doesn't, who's going to care, so that's an option. You can add your beads on to the whole moon, and I wanted to try doing a wire moon and do beading like you see people make those moons out of just wire, but my wiring skills are not that good, so I'm not gonna do that. Maybe someday, if I get a little better at wire wrapping, I can do that. But for now, we will just use glue and glue beads to things, because one thing I know how to use is glue. It's one of my favorite things. So, I'm cursing at strings right now, glue strings. They just ruin my life. And with these little seed beads, they easily pull the seed beads off and pick the seed beads up, and it's just a huge deal. So I'm probably going to go with Aleene's to do the top of it and not hot glue. And I might not use hot glue with seed beads again if I don't have to. But it did work well for the edges because it dries so fast. The Aleene's would have had the glue dripping all over it, just, or we'd have to sit there and wait 100 days for it to dry in time. You have to hold it up so that it dries, and it just, it can get a little tricky. So the hot glue is fine for this, and you can hardly even see the hot glue once it's in place. And like I said, I could go back and add more beads later if I want to, and I do add a few more beads to the top, but I didn't even have to do that. So my new moon is going to go on here. And I like the way it looks in the corner, in the bottom corner, like that. And I'm sorry, the whole collage isn't in frame, but it will be. I promise. I promise. It's not the end. And I'm sorry, I moved it up even further yet. Oh, see, there we go. Frame. And I was debating then on adding any of the seed beads around it, and I decided we should just add a few seed beads around the whole thing. And now that I look at the moon from the camera, I'm probably just going to load the whole thing up with seed beads. I'll add a picture of it after I do that. I'll add a picture to my Instagram. The link is below, along with all of the channels of the rest of the wonderful people that are going to be participating in the hop tonight. There are some terrifically talented people. I'm so excited. I get so excited to see what everybody works on for these hops. And, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of planning on Meri's part and on our parts to plan our projects. So I really just want to give a good pat on the back to our crew here, our hop crew. And I hope that you find enjoyment in these hops on a Sunday evening. Sundays can be a little depressing because tomorrow's Monday, but I hope that this Sunday, once a month, can bring you a little bit of happiness to the beginning of your week. And I really do like the way that this came out. I really like the little gold bits and stars that stick out on it. And it really is just interesting. And the textures, I'm really big on textures, and I just love the... So I do go and add a few little dots of glue and a few little seed beads, and like I said, there will be more seed beads added, and and put in different places and covering that moon shortly so that everything looks kind of uniform. I mean, I do like the moon just painted, but to be completely honest, I don't really like the look of corrugation where you can tell it was corrugated. I don't like that. I should have covered it with chipboard. I had tried to make a moon like that before when I first started doing this project, but the chipboard didn't line up right, and it just aggravated me. So that's actually why I put this project aside. Something as simple as trying to make a moon out of chipboard aggravated me, so I put this project aside, and unfortunately I do that. But today I picked it back up and I decided to go ahead and build something out of it, and I'm really happy with how it came out. And I'm going to cover up that moon with beads so you can't tell that it was corrugated. And I'm just going to play with it, and then I'm going to hang it up somewhere because I really like the look of the galaxy. Or I might do it as a giveaway since I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers.